Hey guys, welcome to LA Love Creative, and today we're talking about tips on how to shoot with new models. Now, I've done this video in the past, I've talked about tips, I've given my insight on how to shoot with newer models or just models that haven't been doing this modeling for too long. And I thought I had a recent shoot. I shot with someone who's kind of relatively young, relatively new to the business. And I thought about, what are some more tips I could give you as a photographer or videographer? Now, I recently shot with a model named Quinnis. Quinnis is great, she was really sweet. Really great with direction, a fun experience all around. One of the tips I have when it comes to shooting with newer models is to have a lot of options. One of the first things I do when I'm shooting with a new model is I kind of have us start to try on different clothes options. By having a lot of clothing options, you give the model a chance to kind of pick and choose what they feel comfortable wearing, especially if you don't have a brand or if you're shooting something for portfolio work or for promotional work. You have the option to kind of go, hey, that doesn't work. Hey, I don't want to wear that, or hey, I'm not comfortable in this, or whatever. By giving the model a lot of options, you allow them to feel more comfortable and they can pick and choose what they want to wear on the day. And I think it's a great way to give them a little bit of control and let them pick and choose what they want to wear and what makes them feel good about themselves. Now, one of the references we had for this shoot was a topless kind of like blazer shoot with, me, if you see me on a photographer, I use blazers so many times as a photographer. But one of the looks that we had was a blazer with some brown pants, and we had it kind of like topless underneath. And we used double-sided tape. That's an awesome tip. If you're doing any type of topless or any type of, where you don't have a top underneath type situation, it'll save your life as a photographer. It'll make them feel more comfortable. They can tape it that way, tape themselves. They'll feel secure. And at the same time, it's great as a photographer because then you allow them to have more movement and not feel so like they're, stressed about their goodies coming out, basically. I had my Forza 500 basically in a softbox because we had an overcast day. I needed a lot of light output. And we basically just had that blasting on the model, one light, and we got some really good looks from it. I took the beauty dish and I had that light facing the model, and I liked it. It looked really great. I thought it was a very, flattering light. I had a black backdrop from my studio. But then I actually thought to myself, I want this lighting to be even softer. So what I did is I took the beauty dish and the light and I actually bounced it on the wall behind me and had it coming forward. So I had the light bounce on the wall behind me and then it would bounce back onto the model. And then I would try to get myself out of the way so you didn't have like a big shadow of me on them. And I really liked the way this turned out. I think it gave it a really flattering, soft look. I didn't want it to be overkill with the light. I wanted it to feel a little bit more like she's got a soft light and then it fades into blackness behind her, and I think it turned out really great. If you're working with a newer model, I think it's a better move to try softer light, and then if you're, as you, get more comfortable with them, you can start making more harsher and harder lights and so on and so on. The next look I did was using one light. I took the Forza 500, any beauty dish, and I had it angled so that it was half on her and half away from the background because I wanted like a strong edge. I really am liking the idea of light to shadow with my images. So I wanted a strong edge where she was properly exposed, but then the background was kind of more moody and more shadow based. I love the way this looked. The Forza 500 has a lot of light output. I think there's a really good benefit when you're using, continuous light versus strobes with new models. I think just the idea of not having to worry about strobes and knowing what the light's doing at all times is great because then you can just focus on their posing and their expressions and stuff like that. So I love using continuous light just pretty much with all models, but I really like using it with newer models. With this look, I had this blazer dress outfit. I shot with it in the past with another model, but I thought it would look great on Quinn, and it did, and it was some of her favorite images of the day, and we had a lot of fun just messing around with that and getting some really good images. Now, the last look of the day, I wanted to do something a little bit more commercial for her, something that she could put on her portfolio that would get her a lot of more commercial, bookings, stuff like that. So what I did is I put this beige dress on her, and it turned out great. I had the black backdrop. We used the Forza 500 again. We just had that light in a softbox. I had it on the model, and I thought it gave it a good, simple, clean aesthetic, perfect for portfolio, perfect for headshot, that type of work. And I think the look turned out great, and I'm really proud of those images as well. Shooting with Quinn was great. She was an awesome model. She had great energy. I think it's important as a photographer just to keep your energy really positive, really lighthearted. And I think when you're working with new models or more established models or people that have been in this business for a long time, you will have great results if you have positive energy and you're putting out good vibes. And I think that's what we did on this photo shoot. Now that's all I have to say about shooting with new models. If you want to support this channel and book our photography studio, the link is in the description below if you're in Los Angeles. And that's all I have to say for today. Peace.